there's a few different things that we're going to be doing. So, continuing off the last video, we have our basic BMIs, and you can see we perform some basic operations on our BMI array list. For this, we're going to continue some arithmetic operations and be a little more complicated. And this will also add on to later when we start doing our pandas data frames. So the first thing we want to do is we have our BMI array, right? So let's just make sure that our BMI array is a BMI array. We can do that just by simply doing type and seeing if it is. So it is a Numpy array. You can see. All right. So there's a few different operations that I'm going to do. The first operation I really want to do is something easy, like removing all the odd numbers. Since we have a couple different, or three different arrays, the weight array, the height array, and the BMI array, I'm just going to try it on the weight array first and see if we can kind of just move with that. So let's go with odd, create the variable odd, then we are going to have our weight array, and we want to do a modulus. Modulus is going to give us a remainder, right? So when we divide every element in our array by 2, we want to have one number, and that fills the statement of defining a odd number. That will be 2k plus 1. All right. So if you ever want to know just how you prove odd number is an odd number, you write a statement, and you would say that if the statement is 2k plus 1, then it's odd. If it's just 2k, because 2 multiplied by any number is going to be an even number. That's how you will prove if it's odd or even. Right? So now we're going to actually call our array weight, and we want to call the actual function that we just created odd, and we want it to be equal to -2, right? Then we want to call it. Let's try that. Okay, so as you can see, there's no odd numbers in weight. Only even numbers, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. Now, if we change this up to our height, because I know height has at least a few different even numbers, or odd numbers, I should say. Simply change it from height, equivalent to 1, and then we are going to call our height again. Now, as you can see, our array actually removed a couple of different elements, and it replaced every element with -2 that is odd. So you look at our original height array, we have 67, which is odd. 67 is replaced by -2. And we have 69, which is odd, which is replaced by -2, and 71, which is odd, that's replaced by -2. So that's just a simple operation to actually remove the odd numbers and replace it by -2. Now you could actually replace it with anything. If you want to replace it with -1, you can do that, and it's just going to be -1. I'm sorry, -3 in each one. We would have to reinitialize our weight variable again, and we can replace everything with it was -2 before, we'll replace it with -1. right? And that replaces every element with -1. That's odd. Okay, so that's just a simple way of just removing elements. Of course, these are all things that are going to become more important later on. The next thing I want to do is simply to just calculate the entire sum of one column in our array. So for this, I'm going to actually go for BMI this time. And it's because NumPy has a bunch of different functions built in, you can actually calculate the sum of pretty much everything in here. So let's go BMI is the array, and we're going to actually do with access to equal 1, which is our column access, or yes, our column access.
Weapons fire detected. Weapons fire detected.
I made a mistake. Actually, when you do it at 1, it's because BMI only has one column. You actually have to set it to 0 and not 1, because 1 will be the second. And there we go. So let's do that, and then let's print that out. Matter of fact, let's change the name of that from BMI sum so we can tell the difference. All right, so everything added together is 10.918, right? That's basically everything in our BMI array added together. You can do the math yourself, and then that's again, when you're trying to sum up a column, that's going to save you a lot of time, and NumPy has all this stuff. Now we're going to get to the meat of this section of the video, because we're going to get into doing element-wise remainder, and we want to divide that by, let's just say, 4. And we are also going to reshape the array, which is we're going to be using a lot more going forward. So the first thing we're going to do is, we already have our arrays set for. I want to convert our list to an actual array. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say li, and we're going to say mp.asarray, and we're going to take our BMI array, and we're going to reshape it. Now, why are we going to reshape it? We're going to reshape it to give us actually more rows and more columns. But we have to be careful. When we reshape our array needs to actually be be able to be divided evenly by the same number of elements we have in our array. So we have in our array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements. So our array needs to be a multiple of 6. So we can say, let's say it is 2. We want 3 rows and 2 columns. All right. Now it says array shape is into 1. Oh, so it actually needs to be, again, rerun it, because our BMI value has changed, which is why we need to actually consistently and make our BMI variable easy to read when we redo it. So BMI sum, and now, okay, so we're going to reshape our array 3 by 2. So that's 3 rows and 2 columns, right? So now for the next one, we're going to get the element-wise remainder. Not the modulus, but the element-wise remainder. So we're gonna do true divide. So that way we get our NumPy is gonna round our elements down. We're gonna say 1, Li, and we're gonna divide everything by 4. Right? So that's pretty much it. Now, even if you wanted to say, let's say we wanted to have 2 rows and 3 columns, it will be, it's very similar. It just has to be a multiple of 6. And the elements need to be a factor of 6. I'm sorry. So you see it's 2 times 3 is 6, or 3 times 2 is 6. So we divide everything by 4. That's going to give us some crazy numbers, but you get the kind of gist. That is the sum of doing the arithmetic operations. Next, we are going to learn about concatenation of an array. Or, I'm sorry, just concatenation for right now. We'll say concatenation of array for the next videos when we start doing panda stuff. Right? So, concatenating an array is basically, you are basically, in this sense, you are combining 2 different arrays together. And you're choosing how to actually display them. Right? So, for this, we're going to be using the function concatenate. NumPy already has it built in. Concatenate. And then we're going to say we're going to create another array, and this time we're going to use weight and height. Right? So that basically just brings everything from weight and height together, and in this case, by default, it just puts them in the order in which they are placed. Okay, and that's fine. You can also do height and BMI, and it does the same thing. So this, all concatenate really does is, as long as the 2 arrays are the same size, meaning they have the same number of elements, I can pretty much bring them together quite easily for display. This is really gonna get more important as we get along in this course. Who got the answer right on the quiz? In this chapter of the Get on Code NumPy tutorial, we learn about performing arithmetic operations on a NumPy array, and of course, we learn how to concatenate matrix arrays. Now, stay tuned for the next chapter in the Python for Data Science tutorial by subscribing to my channel, 1, and clicking the notification bell for more updates. And of course, as usual, go make something cool.